brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking host, the good old boys.
Hey, if you haven't heard about the Great American Beer Festival event, we're here to give you all the info. This is good old boy Mike.
Good old gal Juliana.
And
good old boy Dave. Almost said gal.
We are here to invite you to join us in Denver along with and company on October 4th at Cheeky Monk on the Colfax location from 5 to 7 p.m.
Did we really need another excuse to drink beer?
Bring on the Belgians, dude. I can't wait.
Where can I get tickets?
I don't know, Dave. You actually don't need one. It's free. I mean, like, free. We're going to have such a blast.
Like, really free?
Yeah, like free. That's correct. Or free. Free.
I'm thinking it's free.
I know. I have no idea why I'm choosing to do this, but we're actually going to be recording one of our famous audience participation episodes on site at the Cheeky Monk on October 4th.
Nothing like combining a bunch of drunk people and good old boy Mike and good old boy Dave on the radio.
Well,
keep me out.
Yeah, that's a questionable choice. That's for sure. Listen, we'll be there along with Reverend Mark and a guest appearance with one of the GABF Pro-Am competitors, Chris Allen.
Woohoo!
Goes up.
Yep. Probably a few surprise guests as well as some of other Dave's friends that are questionable.
Wow. Okay, so we're getting together with some friends, drinking lots of beer, and talking into a microphone. I think I know some people that might want to do this.
I'm a little bit overqualified. We may need some sort of skills test to figure out who exactly can participate.
Bingo, you got it, Dave. We're actually going to be having a beer trivia contest as well. So, listen, our trivia contest last year was so famous that there are people actually still protesting about the quality of correct answers all the way around Coors Field. They're standing all day going, your trivia sucks. Your trivia sucks.
Cheeky Monk. Is that place where that last time that girl was trying to blow into your microphone?
No, that's a different that's a different place, another story. Dave.
Is this mic on? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, listen, the Cheeky Monk was a good belching zone nominee for 2013, but they just barely got squeaked out by another place, Tourist in Brooklyn, New York. But listen, the Cheeky Monk is just amazing. Katie that works behind the bar, just really phenomenal. Bartender, really bright, knows everything about Belgian beer. The beer selection is nothing less than stunning. And the food is awesome as well. So, listen, if somebody actually had to ask me about a authentic Belgian bar experience, the very first suggestion I would have would be Cheeky Monk.
Okay, so I'm getting all verklempt here, okay? And I want to go. But
verklempt, is that a real word?
Verklempt.
Okay.
Yes, it's word of the day, okay? Word of the day. But I don't want to go with Dave. How can I make that happen?
Well,
I can make that happen.
Yeah, well, I don't either, but there'll be a lot of people that actually want to show up for this event. So listen, if you'd like to attend this event, the best way to do that is go to our Facebook page, and you'll see on the event section the event for October 4th at GABF at the Cheeky Monk. Pretty simple. RSVP to that as well. We have a super door prize to give away for somebody that is in the list of the people that RSVP for this event. So it's a bit of an homage back to one of our original episodes where we actually gave away West Leader in 12. I know. How about that? We actually still have some of this, and we'll be giving away one highly prized bottle of West Leader in 12.
With the cap, no less.
That's right.
You have to share with me if you win, though.
Well, you've already shared with that, Dave. We rated that beer a 6, and you actually drank half the beer and then recapped it.
You mean I left half of it?
That's correct. And also that beer is rated a 3,
yeah,
so I want to thank you.
Dude?
I appreciate
drank
that.
The whole thing.
Actually, we're going to have to come up with some of our own plan to leave Dave behind, but I'm confident it will be something creative and involving duct tape.
But of
Can I
course-
RSVP?
No, Dave, you will already be there, unfortunately. So there'll be plenty of other Belgian quads available at Cheeky Monk for you to drink, and then you can recap those as well. Listen, we'll have plenty of other handouts. Our magical T-shirts will be in free flow. Listen, if you would love to take advantage of those, we'll actually be scoping out magical T-shirts during GABF week. And if we actually spot you wearing one at a bar, a restaurant, or something else like that, bam, magical, we'll pick up the tab. So definitely a great time to pick one of those up in advance as well. Check out our Facebook page for all the info. We might even have a contest about where is Dave? Kind of like a Where is Waldo thing.
Seriously?
Except with beer.
With beer, yeah, that's correct.
Seriously? That could be, like, exciting, or that could be, like, really, really, really lame.
Yeah,
Because,
I'm
I've
thinking
seen where he
lame.
goes, and there's a lot of undesirable places there.
Let me tell you something. I'm
Tell me
already
something.
practicing my autograph for all my fans.
Really?
So when I come out, if you want me to write Just Dave or Good Old Boy Dave or Cinnamon, my stage name, whatever.
Cinnamon.
I just don't know about that.
Make it out of this, please.
Listen, if you have an extra roll of duct tape, please send that to info@Sips, Suds, and Smokes. We'd like to use that just for this occasion. I'm sure after enough beer, you will figure all this out, Dave. I'm quite certain you'll figure out exactly with his signature, but I'm going for Cinnamon. Hey!
Hey!
Hey, listen, be sure and join us, Sips, Suds, and Smokes in Denver, Colorado, October 4th from 5 to 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time at Cheeky Monk at the Colfax location. For right now, we want to say goodbye.
And find me a place to stay.
Without Dave.
See you at the Cheeky Monk.
Listen, we'd love to see you there. This is Good Old Boy Mike. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. We're going to ask you to keep on sipping.
And now it's sippin' time.
Hello and welcome to this Sip segment. I'm Good Old Boy Mike, one of your hosts here today. We talk about everything good in life is worth discussing here on our Sip segments. Our show is the best thing on at 2 a.m., and we're happy you selected us instead of the lawn repair tips with Walt tonight, so I appreciate that. Joining me here at the table is Good Old Boy Jason, producer of Cumberland Cass Tennessee Whiskey and bourbon expert. Thank you for joining us, Jason, once again.
Good to be here.
So our Sip segments are all about wine, distilled spirits, tea, and coffee. Here's what we're going to discuss on our segment today. We are going to rip the lid off the distilled spirit world with some very popular products, and they are not made where you think they're made, and they're not made who they're made by. We're going to taste and review some of these products today and have a general discussion about this practice in the distillery industry in general. The products we're going to review are going to be George Dickel Rye, Templeton Rye, the small batch version, Old Scouts, 10-year bourbon, Cleveland bourbon, Filibuster that's finished over rye French oak, and Angel Envy, and the version we're going to have of that is rye that's finished in rum cask for today. So those are the products that we're going to get to talk about. Jason gets the honor of going over our SIPS ratings for today.
All right. Well, our SIPS rating is 1, give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
Might have a couple of those today.
Number 2, nice, but what else do you have?
Well, isn't that nice?
Number 3, interesting. What was that again?
Interesting.
And number 4, let's keep this secret to ourselves. Pour me another.
That's classified.
And number 5, oh my, I was unaware anything could be this good.
Oh my goodness!
And I think we might have things all up and down that scale today. I don't know about you, Jason, but just to tell our audience a little bit, we're actually recording outside today on a screen-in porch. It smells so good in here.
It does smell really good in here right now.
I tell you. I mean, so the last time we got together was actually for one of our Scotch shows, and one of our colleagues, Ryan, actually spilled some of the Scotch in the room, and that room just smelled like peat for probably the entire show. And I was wondering if I could take a bath in this. And I got to say, just sitting here and just the general aroma that's coming off, the tasting glasses that we have in front of me, let's just hang up the microphone and just start tasting. It's just, what's the point? Anyway, I do want to share the experience with our audience here. So, Jason, I know that this is a topic that you love to talk about, and it was those many conversations that we've had, plus a recent article that came out from the Daily Beast by Eric Felten that actually provoked many of our listener comments on our own Facebook site. Now, Eric's article link is posted on our Facebook page, but we'll actually discuss some excerpts from this article as well. And I know one of the things that you mentioned to me is this is not the first time that this article came out, and it actually came from a Huffington Post.
Yeah, there's been many articles about this. Basically, people got wind of what was going on, and there have just been articles in every news venue you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to be piling on with our discussion today, and I'd like to think that both your background and knowledge is going to bring an interesting and informative twist to this story as well. So I guess the one group we're going to talk an awful lot about today is going to be Midwest Grain Products, formerly known as, we'll call them MGP today, but they're formerly known as Lawrenceburg Distillers Indiana, or LDI. Mm-hmm. So I'd like for you to just kind of give us a little bit of background on who are these folks and what are some general trends that are actually going on kind of in this mass distillery world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, basically MGP or LDI, I still call it LDI. I've not transitioned to the MGP name yet, but they were a Seagram's distillery back in the day, and they've swapped hands many times. They were most known recently because they make alcohol or ethanol for the perfume industry, for food products. They make grain products for feed for animals. But basically now they still do all that, but they're also one of the largest distillers in the country. And they're basically a bulk distillery, and they will sell any bulk spirits that you want, whether it's vodka or gin or whiskey. They will actually distill your own recipe for you and age it for you in their warehouse, which is something that's very interesting.
Oh, that's a new twist for sure. So, I really thought that this story about these folks was very interesting in the article as well. And I'm really glad that you mentioned one of the things that caught my attention is this is not a rye whiskey shop only. I mean, no, this is like an industrial alcohol factory. Correct. Because they actually distilled so many other things. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I love that you always tell me is this story is not just unique to the world of whiskey.
No, it's not.
And you were telling me a little bit about the way vodka is handled here in the U.S. as well.
Correct. So pretty much there are very few vodka manufacturers. People like Tito's and Sky and other people, they contract out the distilling process and have for a very long time. Basically, it's just trying to keep up with supply and demand.
That's so bad. So I guess one of the things that the story we were talking about, the background is kind of where this came from. And you were telling me a little bit about the trend that Scotch had, for many, centuries. And it's a great story. I'd love for you to tell it here for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, basically, back in the day, pot stills were very, very small in Scotland, and a producer could only make so much. And as I was told to me by a very famous Scotch blender, there were only two professions in Scotland. You were either a farmer or a fisherman. and pretty much everybody made whiskey. So a distillery that was...
I like that, wasted fisherman.
Yeah. So if a distillery was making whiskey, they would also look to everybody around them and would purchase barrels on a fairly regular basis. It was just common occurrence. Pretty much when you grew grains, you could sell them at market, or you could make whiskey and make 2 or 3 times as much money. So everybody did it, and it's a practice that definitely followed over to the United States. Of all farmers pretty much made alcohol also, and would sell some of that alcohol. It's kind of, one of the foundation principles of the United States. I mean, our first president was a moonshiner.
Well, so I know that this practice actually is still very much in place, for the Scotch industry.
Yes.
I buy a lot of things that there's a lot of terms: gray label, off label, basically bottler, or alternative aging. There's a lot of terms that are used for a lot of these groups. But I guess my point here is that this is a practice that hasn't gone away.
No.
In fact, it's very much in place still.
Correct.
In Scotland, and very much a part of the Scotch industry.
Correct.
Even today. But this is a little different tale that we have here going on with MGP, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And so... I'm glad that we had a chance to talk a little bit about, the background about who MGP is and LDI was. So it was just a name change that happened here, right? Nothing really materially happened other than it just got bought out by MGP. Right?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So same stuff, same story. So I love this quote from Todd Leopold in this article that really kind of goes to the heart of the economic conditions that are much like what I would describe an addictive business cycle that is very difficult to break. So here's the quote from Todd. Todd Leopold is the master distiller at Denver's Leopold Brothers, has actually managed to do it. And part of the reference there is that actually to move away from actually making his products at MGP. But how much easier, he says, with disdain for those who just buy whiskey off the shelf and market it. All they do is hire salespeople, make up a BS story, and boom, they look like a distillery. And I know that is a very big story, tale that we have here. And we actually have one product that's actually sitting in front of you and I to kind of talk about almost that exact same principle of how they came to be.
Yes, and that is the Templeton Rye. The Templeton Rye has a long story behind it, claiming that it is Al Capone's whiskey and that it is his recipe, and it is a repackaged whiskey that was made during Prohibition. And I can tell you right now that there are some lawsuits that are involved with the marketing of that product.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. The lawyer in me wants... I'm kidding about that. You mentioned people fighting, and I got excited. So, not true?
Not true. Not true at all. Nope. It is not Al Capone's recipe. It is a MGP rye whiskey.
Can we at least applaud? It was a fabulous story.
It was a fabulous story. It definitely was.
So kudos to their marketing team on that one. I guess the other story you have around this is so that's a really good example of a bit of the cloak and dagger between. Basically, it's a marketing story that's wrapped around a product that has absolutely no lineage or substance to it at all. Mm-hmm. So I guess one of the other things is, as we were going through such a vast collection of products to choose from that are made at MGP, is just simply reading the labels and even understanding some lineage around this is a little difficult. I love the story that you had around the Bellmead whiskey and talking a little bit about some of the lineage around that particular whiskey as well.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just it's when distillers get caught in lies that it really offends me. But Bellmead Bourbon, their first batch came from Bardstown, Kentucky. I have the bottle sitting right in front of me right now, and on the back of the label, it says distilled for and bottled by Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery, Bardstown, Kentucky. And by law, you have to tell the truth. On the one part of the back label. Everything else you can make up.
Microprint.
Yeah. So their first batch was from Bardstown, Kentucky, and they told everybody that it was their recipe, their mash bill, their yeast strain. And then the next batch came out, and it was from Indiana, from LDI, and whiskey has to age for 10 years. So pretty much I don't think they made whiskey for 10 years in Bardstown and then decided to switch, on a whim to Indiana. It's just they're sourcing whiskey and they try to come up with a sword.
Aged whiskey too,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Which is even probably I would consider more of a disdain practice than actually just buying straight white lightning
Yes.
and then aging it on your own.
Yes.
That's just even worse to say somebody's aged product is yours. So that's crazy. Wow. So this practice is not just a consumer marketing smokescreen, but it's actually influencing the consumer definition of what is actually good rye whiskey. So there's another quote in this article from Clay Risen, who is the author of a book called Whiskey, Bourbon, and Rye. It's a good book. I like it. Get a chance, pick it up, check it out. There's a lot of good stories in it. So here is the a bit of the discussion in this article. Another challenge actual craft distillers face is that the armies of new rye drinkers have come to expect whiskey with a particular flavor. That is the taste of MGP rye. If you've ever tried Dickel Rye, Redemption, or Templeton, you'd think that's how rye whiskey should taste. MGP whiskeys are actually marketed under so many different labels that they have colored perceptions of what rye should actually be. And I guess the thing that got me thinking about this is there is so much media hype over the concept of rye and actually, making moonshine itself. And, this concept of so much volume of rye has really got to rail against the concept of craft and culture aspects of actually making moonshine itself. So I know that Popcorn Sutton whiskey or moonshine is actually made in Nashville. It's in the hands of a very capable friend of the show, Travis Hickson, who's actually the former brewer at Blackstone Brewery, and he's actually been working hand in hand against the really great talent Jamie Grosser, who actually worked with Popcorn Sutton. But the thing that a lot of people don't know is they actually make the Popcorn Sutton moonshine at Corsair Distillery. And I know that I think they're trying to move to their own facility or something like that. Yeah. Do you know if the move's already taken place or?
No, I don't think it has yet.
Yeah. So it's, all of a sudden you have the hands of the American palate, in somebody like, MGP here, that's actually almost influencing the concept of what good rye tastes like. Looking at the vast, range of products, do you really think that they're having some undue influence on the American palate?
I say yes, and I also say no. And I'll use the same argument to where when you go around the world and you ask somebody, what do you think about American whiskey? And they'll say it's good, but it's got a bite. And it's because they're talking about one brand.
Yeah.
And that's all they know. And that's what they think American whiskey tastes like. And I would say the same thing with rye right now. And it's just because the stocks and the reserves of rye whiskey are low. So MGP puts out a ton of different brands. You put a link on your website to the huge list.
Yeah.
And I will say that a lot of them have a lot of similarities. I think that we did a good thing here, separating out 3 bottles that pretty much don't do anything to it and 3 bottles that put their own stamp on the whiskey that change the product a lot. But I will say that they probably have very much influenced what people think of rye whiskey, or at least the younger generation of what they think rye whiskey is. Older generations, especially going back to right when Prohibition ended, rye whiskey was Canadian. Everybody thought good rye whiskey came from Canada. So, and there's still great examples of that today.
It was also cheap and plentiful. And,
True.
I think that simply product availability and price point, I think, had some influence about that as well.
Very true, very true. But I will I will tell you from a distiller's perspective that the cold weather does great things to rye whiskey. And a great example of that is Whistle Pig, which is one of my favorite rye whiskeys. It's made in Canada, and, you know, of course, they put Vermont Farm on the front of the bottle. But if you ask Dave Pickrell, who's the ex-master distiller at Maker's Mark, who's the master distiller now for Whistle Pig, they will tell you that it's Canadian whiskey, but that they bring the whiskey to the United States and age it and finish it in multiple different barrels. So they're putting their own stamp on the bottle. So
a little difficult for me to follow the lineage around that. Somehow it's declared it's declared an American product. I don't even know from what state in that scenario. Well, you know, I think so much of what I get swept up in is so much of my frame of reference about products is according to food laws. I think part of my frame of reference are French wine labeling laws, and more importantly, how both French and the DOC actually they're bound by food laws in those states about exactly what they can put on the label. No different than in the U.S., how you have, you know, nutrition labels have to be certain size, and you have to go through testing and you have to declare all this other stuff about it. I really wonder if you think that if there were simply just not so much a change in the industry, but there was some measure of consumer protection in simply labeling laws around distilled products to say where it was made, who actually made it, and where did it come from.
Well, I can tell you that there are some laws, they just don't go to the extent that they need to go. The best thing is on the back of every bottle, right above the government warning, there is usually a distilled and bottled statement. If you say distilled, you have to be truthful. If you say a lie, you will go to jail. If you say bottled, it has to say exactly where it's bottled. If you lie, you will go to jail. But there is one word that has become very popular right now, and that is the produced statement. The produced statement is very lenient. Pretty much you can say wherever your company is incorporated or where you do business out of if you put a produced statement.
So is that really just a matter of skirting measures of tax laws, you know, that may be favorable, how they're labeling components around that, or why would somebody, you know...
Because they don't want you to know where it came from.
Interesting. Huh.
They do not want you to know.
Why don't they just put a giant question mark on the label? That would be a little more accurate. I'd appreciate go fish.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this before the show, but, you know, one spirit group that has definitely taken this under their wing is tequila with nom numbers. So if you look on the back of every tequila bottle, it has a nom number, and you can go to the internet and search for the nom number, and it will tell you exactly who made that bottle of tequila and where it came from. And I will say that I do think that eventually it will go there with whiskey just because there are so many lawsuits right now.
Well, are those lawsuits mainly about maintaining market share and, you know, crushing somebody in the courtroom as opposed to on the liquor store shelf?
The lawsuits right now are about false advertising and lying to consumers.
Keeping the lawyers happy and, you know, their revenue well in tow.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind that. So I think one of the things I wanted to mention here, so in full disclosure, you actually use a similar process with your own Cumberland cask, but you actually use a different micro distiller. I wonder if you can share with us a little bit about why you do that, how it came around, and some of the decision making, you know, that you had to actually kind of go that route as well.
Absolutely. Well, my family has been in the liquor business legally since 1939. My great-grandfather started up a distributor and was also instrumental in helping Dickel open after Prohibition. So my family has very much been a part of Tennessee whiskey heritage since Prohibition has ended. Well, when I got in this business, I've been wanting to make a whiskey for a very long time. But as a craft distiller right now, you either have to wait a decade, or you can put out what I consider an inferior product, which is something that's aged in a small barrel or something that's aged in a large barrel, but only for a year. So to me, those products don't have any roundness or any flavors to them. So what I decided to do was get in touch with a distillery in Tennessee. So my product is distilled in Tennessee. It is aged in Tennessee. I do not lie about that. And pretty much I asked them if we could use their facility and use their stills and use their rack houses. And we purchased whiskey when it was ready. I tasted it for up to 2 years, and it was, it wasn't ready, it wasn't ready, it wasn't ready, and then finally it was. And when it was, we brought that whiskey to Nashville, and we bottled it here at another craft distillery. However, there were two things that I also did that were very different. So I put my own stamp on the bottle by not doing their exact process. My whiskey is completely unfiltered. I'm the only unfiltered Tennessee whiskey. And I also am the only cask strength Tennessee whiskey to come out. And the reasons why I wanted to do that was because I was tired of paying crazy prices for cask strength whiskey. So I wanted to give the market something that they could finally afford. And that was one of the reasons why I purchased the whiskey that I did. Now, I will tell you that we've got whiskey aging in Nashville right now. We've got whiskey being finished in barrels right now. So, we're putting our own stamp on the whiskey. So we're very open. We've got full disclosure. If anybody asks me, I will not lie to them.
Well, and that's why I love having you here at the table, to talk about, this topic, because you've seen the way that it has affected not only the producers or people actually marketing products, but you also see the consumer side of the equation as well, and the net effect that it's having with consumers, and that's why I love having you here at the table. Well, it is just smells so good out here. I don't know if I can stand it even one more minute.
My mouth has been drooling.
Let's swing to talk about some of the products we have in front of us and a broad range of stuff. So I wanted to share with our listeners a little bit about the process that we went through selecting some of the products that we're going to taste and review today. So the simple division is the good stack and the bad stack. And it's not based on product. It's actually based on practice.
Correct.
Of what we're talking about here. And so the first three we're going to go through are some folks that have some questionable lineage as well as labeling practices. And we'll kind of talk about those in the same time we're actually tasting and rating some of these as well. So up first is going to be George Dickel's Rye whiskey. And I love the discussion we had when I was writing this down. So I said, so this has been aged, 8 years or 4 years? And you were going, no.
Yeah, no.
So we're going to call this three. We're going to call this 3.5 years.
I always like to give it the range of 2 to 4. But I will say on the back of this bottle, it says distilled in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, bottled by George Dickel in Norwalk, Connecticut. So this whiskey has traveled the country.
Well, so sorry, I had to take a swig of water behind the back end of that. So the first word I would use is, holy crap, that's hot. So, this is... This reminds me of something that I drank at a different age point in my life than where I'm at right now.
Reminds you of college, doesn't it?
Yeah. Probably actually the smell of a few college rooms is what I was thinking of, most definitely. This is hot. It smells a little sweet.
It does.
But it definitely doesn't taste sweet at all. I would say that... probably if I had a squeaky rear axle, I might use this, but I would have to give this sips rating a 1, which is, please give me some water to wash in my mouth, which is exactly what I did after I
reached for the water cup right afterwards.
So what do you think of the George Dickel here?
I'm going right with you, number 1. Give me a glass of water to wash out my mouth.
God, man.
And I would like to point out that George Dickel is owned by Diageo, and another product they own, which is Bullet, and Bullet Rye is the same source of rye whiskey as this Dickel.
Oh, man. Please don't make me drink that again. It's just that was cruel punishment. Up next is the Templeton Rye. Jason talked a little bit about the story, the labeling for this, and I appreciate the fact that I'm tasting something that is grounded in the mob. Let's see if this actually. There's hardly any nose on this at all.
I will say that the Templeton is younger than the Dickel is. You can just tell by the color. It tastes a little bit greener.
Yeah, it does. Not quite as hot, but that's about it. This tastes a lot younger, even than the Dickel did. Very flat. I mean, this is on and off the palate so fast. It's like 3.8 milliseconds.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to throw this right in the same batch. My sips rating for the Templeton Rye is also going to be a 1. Give me a glass to wash out my mouth with some water.
And
I'm going to do.
And I will tell you, I'm right there with you again with a number 1, and I'm going to drink some water now.
Wow. Alrighty, moving right along.
Oh, all right. At least now we can go to a little bit better of something.
quickly and briskly. So this next one is a product called Old Scout. It is a 10-year-old bourbon, and you said this was hot right now. In terms of a lot of collectors are going after this.
Correct. So one of the biggest thing in the collector world right now is the single barrels. So stores can pick out a single barrel, which will differentiate them from the product that's just normally on the shelves.
I've seen all this, yeah.
Exactly. Well, right now, distilleries are out of barrels. And Old Scout is one of the only ones that still has barrels. So we're making a transition here from rye whiskey, the first 2 are ryes, to a bourbon. So this one is a bourbon. It is aged 10 years, and they do have a ton of single barrels out there. You can get single barrels of rye and single barrels of bourbon. But this is a great example of Indiana whiskey just under another label.
So it's kind of hot on the nose. It has a hint of smelling a little sweet. More complex. This feels like somebody shoved a barrel plank on both sides of my cheeks and is scrubbing it hard. It's more abrasive than I probably would like. I have no idea what this costs, but I would probably say this is a low end bourbon if I had to place it somewhere on the shelf. This is something maybe if somebody were just getting into bourbons for the first 5 years, I can see somebody picking this up and not knowing the difference. My sips rating for Old Scout 10 would be actually a 2. Nice. But what else do you have?
Nice.
Well, I guess I'm just going to have to keep following you there. I know. Well, I'm right there with you. I will say that I will lean a little bit more to a 3, and I'll give it a 3 just to be different.
All right.
Which is interesting. What was that again? And the reason is because coming out of Indiana, I will say that this is one of the best whiskeys that has not been messed with. So I will say, out of that specific distillery, this 10-year-old bourbon is some of the best that they have to offer. That another distiller does not, change in their own unique form or style.
Well, that's very interesting in this lineup for sure. All right, up next is going to be Cleveland bourbon whiskey. I'm sorry I didn't ask you, how long is this one aged?
Well, I want you to taste it first, and then I want to tell you.
This is the surprise one.
Yeah, this is the surprise.
I've never had this before.
I will say there's 2 ends of the spectrum. Either people hate it or people love it. But when they hear the story, it's a very, very interesting story.
A very different nose. I can't put my finger on it. It's sweet, but it's a different kind of sweet. It's not a corn sweet. It's like a woody sweet. I'm trying to think what that reminds me of. I'll think of it here in a minute. Wow, this is
Interesting.
yeah. Interesting is definitely a word. I've had some things that are in French oak that are very reminiscent of this. There's another product, Breen. I think that's the name of it. That is also made in French oak, and that would be my neophyte guess. I don't know that I would put it. Wow. I don't know if I'd come back to this or not. I can see having a 2-finger glass of this and being done, and not having a second glass. And for that, I'll probably rate this. Sips rating for Cleveland's bourbon whiskey is going to be 3.
Interesting.
Interesting, but what else do you have?
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
So would you like to hear the story of this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this whiskey is 6 months old.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So
I can't believe that.
It is. So what
All
they
right.
did.
I'm flabbergasted with that.
So what they did is they bought whiskey from MGP LDI, and they brought it to their distillery, and then they pressure aged it for 24 hours in a pressure cooker with wood chips to give it their own unique flavor.
So this is the KFC of the bourbon industry?
This is somebody trying to speed up the aging process. So, instead of waiting 10 years for good whiskey, these guys are, in my opinion, putting out a decent product after 6 months.
Well, I'd have to say, hearing a bit more of the background story, I totally give props out to that.
Yeah.
For the innovation alone, I am really shocked. And I'm sure that there are a lot of purists that are throwing dull blunt objects at their radios right about now going, "You suck." There is no way.
Yeah.
That is, you can't even label that bourbon. That's not aging. That's like pressurized cooking crap. Yeah, I'm sorry, but don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would be exactly what I would tell people. So, you think that's a trend?
I do think it's a trend.
Simply because supply and demand is so hot in the bourbon world right now, and the availability of good wood barrel is in short supply. Do you think that there's going to be some other distillers that are going, that sucks? Hang on a second, let me try that.
Yeah, exactly. and I will tell you that every micro distillery is trying to speed up the aging process right now. And if they're not, then they're dumb. Because, waiting 10 years for a product, paying to put up those barrels, paying the tax every year it's aging, it's going to get really, really expensive. You have to have tens and tens of millions of dollars behind you if you want to do it that way. So I will tell you that everybody's playing with it. Even somebody big like Maker's Mark with their 46 is even trying to make whiskey taste differently by putting extra wood in the barrel.
Nice and balanced, too.
Yes.
I have to say, I didn't talk about, when I was reviewing it, it's, I won't use the word mellow, but it's pleasing.
It is. I will say that you can definitely taste the greenness, and I use that word as in you can taste the grains. The wood hasn't come out. The vanilla hasn't come out. The vanilla is what you get when you age whiskey for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. But I will say, I bring this to a lot of tastings. It just shocks people that this whiskey is 6 months old.
Well, kudos to you to, pull one on me and, see my reaction, here with the mic on. Definitely props out to you, Jason, for doing that. Not a lot of folks do that, and I have to say that was could be the highlight of my day here. So why don't you review the Cleveland Bourbon as well?
Well, I give the Cleveland Bourbon on purely a taste rating. I would give it a 3 also, which is interesting. What was that again? Just because it is extremely interesting to me. It has a different taste profile than most things do. Now, if I was giving it a rating based on their process, then I would give it a much higher rating. I really would.
Yeah, I agree. For nothing more than just the... I would have to hand them a technical award on at least pushing the bounds of exactly how to make a great aged product.
Yeah.
In a shorter period of time.
Absolutely.
Wow. Pretty cool. Up next is going to be Filibuster. It is, we're swinging back to rye.
Yes, we are.
And this is actually finished over French oak. Also another product out of MGP.
Yep.
As well. Now, I noticed on the label it says dual cask. I have no idea what that means. Does that mean they, pour from 2 casks at the same time? What the heck does that mean?
Well, it means it aged in the first cask, which was probably New American oak, and then they finished it in a French oak, so it saw 2 casks in its lifetimes, therefore dual casks. Pritchard's used the word double barrel. Sazerac has used the word double barrel, but it's just basically saying that it has been in wood more than one time.
Well, so my thoughts about on this are, as far as aroma, it's just kind of mild, a little sweet.
Yes.
That's about it. Maybe a hint of some honeysuckle or something. It's just this is more alcohol forward, not like hot alcohol. This is just, it's where the alcohol is kind of forward on the palate and then it kind of tails off rather quickly. It'd be difficult for me to describe this as balanced. It just has a lingering effect on the back end of your palate that is not cool.
Yeah.
Almost like a coating effect. I'm going to have to take definitely a swig of water to, after this one for sure. I would say my rating here for Filibuster is going to be a 3 as well.
Interesting.
Interesting. What was that again? Yeah, because there's something about this that's a little different. I can't quite put my finger on it, but again, I would probably have a 1-finger split of this and be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I taste this, I can taste the Dickel Rye again. That's what I taste. That's that flavor coming back out.
That's totally it, Jason.
It is.
Yeah.
And then what happens is because they finished it in that French oak, you get a little bit of sweetness. There's a different taste than that Dickel exactly, but you can just taste that. I mean,
folks.
That Dickel Rye.
Huh.
So if I was to give it a rating, I give it a rating of 3. Interesting. What was that again?
Wow. I'm not being the Pied Piper here, right?
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that the only reason why I would give it a 3 and not a 2 is because they have tried. And they are trying to do something interesting and something different.
Yeah, I think that was part of where I was in my rating as well. Is that I didn't think there was anything materially wrong with it. But I just felt like there was a lot more space for some things to go right. So I thought it was right in the middle, and that's why I left it where it did. All right. Up next is a very highly prized product that I was really shocked. The first time I saw this on the list, I was like, no way. So next product we're talking about is Angel Envy. This is the rye that's actually finished in a rum cask. This is a product that I've had a lot of, and I know you have as well.
I've drank way too much of this product.
I had it before it was released. I had it after it was released. I've bought it personally. I've given it as gifts. I have sought out, this product in many different batches, across the U.S. This is a product that I'd like to think that I know fairly well. Although I obviously did not know well enough the lineage of this is actually made at MGP.
Yes, and I will tell you, I was not surprised. I was a little surprised that it was MGP. I would have guessed that it was Canadian rye. That was my first guess. But Angel's Envy doesn't own a distillery. They're building one right now in Louisville. And I can tell you that their bourbon is sourced and their rye is sourced.
And you didn't get to see me swooning when I took that swig.
I saw the eyes roll a little bit.
Like, oh, God, please, just pour a bathtub of this for me. Holy crap. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm just a sucker for things that have been aged in rum casks, because there's a lot of beers that I like that have been aged in rum casks that I just have gone nuts over. And I would say that part of the this is a bit of a novelty, I would say, even in the bourbon world, where somebody has aged something in a much sweeter product like rum. And I don't know, there's just the aroma of this is just
incredible.
It is incredible. It's just it's so infectious. It's one of those things that I could literally put my head over the glass and just breathe into the glass for 15 minutes, and I would be completely happy. That is just, I don't know what that says about me. There's some measure of pathetic, behavior that I have, or that I really, really like the way this smells, because the aroma is really amazing. It's just, the only thing that I'm not hearing is Bob Marley music. When I put my head over this, I mean, it's just it really is quite amazing and so balanced, in terms of the aroma. The taste of this is just really makes me swoon. It is very sweet on the front end, and then there's just this wonderful presentation in the middle of the taste of this. It's a bit sweet. You can taste, the bourbon that's there, but it's all just in this incredibly complex. I mean, there's like 40 layers, of flavor that are going on, through the taste of this. The finish is great. The only thing that I hate about this is usually when my glass is empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to stop gushing about this and rate Angel's Envy on rum cask is a 5.
Oh my
I was unaware anything could really be this good, and that is an understatement about this product. Jason, I know this is something you've had quite a bit as well.
It is, and I will tell you that every time I taste this, it just, I don't know why, but it reminds me of caramel creme brulee. It's just a dessert.
Oh, that is right on, man. That is so awesome.
But yeah, I mean, Lincoln Henderson, just absolutely incredible. Definitely will be missed. But I will tell you that this is one of my favorite products I've ever gotten to try. And I will tell you, if there was a 6 rating, I would give it a 6. But I'm going to have to stick with the 5 also, which is oh my. I was unaware anything could be this good. But just absolutely incredible. The finish, I mean, it's so complex. I mean, he sourced the best rum barrels you could possibly get. I mean, he got plantation rum barrels that before they were used for rum, they were used for cognac, and before they were cognac, they were used for bourbon. I mean, you can just pick up so many different flavor notes in this whiskey. Absolutely incredible. It just gets sweeter every time you drink it. It's just awesome.
Wow. So I guess the thing that's sticking at me right now is I'm looking at the 6 products that we've just reviewed, all distilled at the same place.
Yes.
Why did that Dickel suck so much, and the Angel Envy was just so amazing?
It just shows you somebody who decided to change the product and somebody who bottled something that had already been made. Sourcing whiskey, like we said at the very beginning, it's not new in the spirit industry. It's been done in the Scotch industry forever. It's been done in bourbon, now rye, everything. Everybody sources from everybody in this industry. But, the first 3 that we tried were people that bought whiskey, put it in a fancy bottle, hired a marketing team, and sold somebody else's product. The next 3 that we tried was somebody that bought whiskey because they didn't have access to good whiskey yet, and then tried themselves to recreate or to make something new.
It almost feels like a chicken and egg conversation, which is almost a conversation that I have with, a lot of people about the concept of just basic, business 101, foundation. Do you create something compelling and let the consumer decide whether it's compelling as well? In other words, the best product always wins. Or do you take the other route, which is I could sell you a VW Bug with no engine in it with 4 flat tires and you would still pay for it. And there's something to be said for the style in America in so many products that have tremendous market share is that we have some really good people that can market a VW bus with no engine and 4 flat tires, and sell it to their own mother and go, that is the best thing you have ever had, right?
Absolutely.
So, I think that I think almost the way we've gone through this is an exercise of where would you answer the question at the end of the day? Or would you rather have a great product in your glass, or would you rather be marketed to?
I get asked this question all the time, and I will tell you, I would rather have a great product
my question
in my
to you
glass.
would be, could I have some more?
And I will tell you, labels aside, bottles aside, if the whiskey in the bottle is good, does it really matter where it came from? I mean, boil it down. Does it really matter? If you enjoy something tremendously, does it really matter? The Angel's Envy, you and I mean, we obviously love this product because you and I found out that it's from MGP. Mm-hmm. Are you going to drink any less of it?
No.
It's not. And you know why? It's because it's a great product.
It's a great product, yeah.
Exactly. Now, when I found out that Bullet Rye and when I found out that Dickel Rye was made at MGP, I started blasting it a lot more because Diageo is the largest spirit manufacturer in the world, and they easily could have made their own product because they got more money than any of us could ever imagine, but yet they wanted to put on a product fast with their marketing team, and that's what they did.
Well, I almost feel we're defining the opportunity to have a show in the not-too-distant future of a blind taste testing because there is nothing more pure than a blind taste testing. And you and I have actually gone to some trade events together, and I would say that I'm guilty of walking around and seeing, the marketing and who's making stuff, and seeing, who's behind a product, and that's influencing some of what I think about, some products in advance. I've gone to some blind taste testings for Scotch, but I have not done that for bourbon, and I'd like to think that that is in the not too distant future for us.
It will change your opinion on products.
There's no way that if you had walked up to me and said, Mike, I have a bourbon that has been aged pressurized for less than a year, and it is $10 less. I don't even know what the price point of Cleveland is, but it's a little bit less than everybody else, and I think it'll smoke everything. I would just look at you and go, you're full of crap. But yeah, I'm a believer after having it today. That's definitely one product I'm walking away from today going, and I'm going to have that same feeling, the rest of the day going, really, I would like another glass of the Angel's Envy.
Don't we all?
For sure. Well, it's been a really great discussion, and I really hope you'll avail yourself of both reading through the article that we were talking about today, as well as looking through the products that are actually hosted out of NGP to help educate yourself about this. And if anything, I'd like to think that we've done a good balanced discussion about showing that your misconceptions about a lot of things are not always true. That both a combination of you thinking that you always have to distill something and the place that you consume it, as well as the capability of what can really happen if you put a great product in the hands of great people.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks to all of our listeners here on Sips, Suds, and Smokes. You can catch all of our episodes online on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Uncle John's Basement, Jason's Screen Porch, and Spreaker, our native media host. Our terrestrial radio stations are questioning why in the heck did you not ship a bottle of Angel Envy to us, because they're always expanding, and if you would like to hear this show and them screaming, oh my God, I'd like some more of that as well. Yeah. Send them a note and actually copy us as well. You can reach us online at any time at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com. Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every single day. You actually get to see some of these probably flow out on Twitter. Our handle on Twitter is @SipSudSmoke. Our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news. Listen, do us a favor and take the time to actually rate this episode if you're listening online. That's a really big help to us, and we actually get to see your feedback as well. You can write on that note, Mike, you suck, and rate it a 5. I'm happy with that as well. That Jason guy sounds really cute. Is he available? Negative. I want to thank my co-host Jason for definitely joining us today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to go through these products with you and look forward to doing some more in the future.
I look forward to it as well, Jason. We have a lot of great topics ahead of us, and we've covered a really good one today. Most of all, again, I want to thank our listeners. This is Good Old Boy Mike asking you to keep on sipping.
This has been a One Tan Hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see y'all next time.